Hello guys, so we will start with our first Linux basics lecture. In this lecture basically I will tell you how to use different commands and whatever the different Linux basics are there. For this purpose I will take my AWS account to launch in one EC2 instance. In this lecture I will also tell you how to launch an EC2 instance from the very basic. In other sessions I will cover AWS, but for this lecture I will tell you how to launch an EC2 instance in AWS account. You can take any of the AWS accounts, or you can also take Google Cloud accounts or any other cloud account. Even you can take the help of Vagrant as well, but for your purpose at this time I will take an EC2 instance. For this purpose I will go to the console and click on launch instance. A dashboard will come and I will take the image Ubuntu. Just you have to type Ubuntu, the various whatever the various versions are there, you will get on the screen. Suppose Amazon Linux is there, Amazon Linux AMI is there, Red Hat one is there, SUSE is there, Ubuntu is there. Okay, so what will I do? I will launch instance with the image Ubuntu. I will take Ubuntu server 16.04 LTS SSD volume type. It is little bit cheaper and good to use, or whatever the different practice you want to do that in this Ubuntu server, you can do that. So you can select, and I will take T2 Micro. It is also free tier available, and virtual CPUs are there, one memory 1 GB, EBS only. EBS is basically the storage hard disk, you can say that. On whatever the different storages are there, EBS is that thing. It can be SSD type, magnetic one is there. That all the things I will cover in different sessions in detail. Just in this session I will tell you how to launch an EC2 instance. Network performance is low to moderate. IPv6 support is there. There are two types of IPv address, IPv4 and IPv6. So I will again go to configure instance details. Sorry. So in this I will launch number of instances, one. I don't want to take the spot instances. Spot instances are basically the primitive instances. They are much cheaper in comparison to on demand, 80% cheaper. I will cover that part also in different session. And in VPC, on which VPC I want to launch my instance, this is basically the default one. And subnets. Subnets are basically the partitions under the VPC. It can be of two types, public subnet and the private subnet. Okay, so at present I am taking no preference, just the default subnet, because I don't want to do the partitions and all. I just want to tell you how the basic commands work under the Linux environment, and not going into the much detail what are the public subnets and what are the private subnets and what is the VPCs. And the next part is auto assign public IP. The public IP will be provided to the instance by the AWS console, so that we can log in into the EC2 instance. Okay, the capacity reservations, these are I'm putting it by default. Domain, join directory, IAM rules, shutdown behavior, this also I am taking that present moment default ones. Okay, next I'm adding the storage. The storage, as I tell you, the EBS one. The volume type is root. This is device slash dev slash sd1. A snapshot. 8 GB I'm taking right now. SSD type general purpose. IOPS is input output 100 out of 3000. So what happened? Delete on termination basically means, suppose you delete an instance, the EBS will also be deleted. Sometimes what happens, if you don't click this or untick this, your instance will be deleted, but your EBS will be there. It will cost you. So for the purpose or the making the cheaper your AWS bills less, for that purpose what we do, we put this tick, delete on termination. Now what we do, we will add tags. Add tags, suppose just giving the names to a particular server. Suppose I am giving name Linux basics. Okay, and only one tag at present we will give. Now what we'll do, I will create a security group. Security groups in EC2 instances are there just like at what particular port you want to allow your traffic to come. We already know that for the SSH part, SSH into the instance or login into the instance, port 22 is important. Basic, the default port through which we can access into our instance. Okay, so the type SSH, protocol is TCP, port range 22, source is custom. We can also put anywhere or my IP, but I'm just now for the ease of purpose I'm taking it custom. This is basically open to world, and how to stop this open to world I will cover in different sessions, because security group and security is a very important concern that has to be covered in complete detail. In description we can say that I will do Linux uh, security group. Okay, security group. Naming conventions are very important in AWS or the cloud part for the separation of namespaces. Okay, so I will create one security group with the port range 22 and open to the world. What I will do, just I will review my instance and launch it. So what I have done, I have launched one instance with T2 micro, virtual CPUs 1, memory is 1 GB, ABS, and SSH port open. Instance details you can check through this. VPC is this, VPC is default one, subnet is default one. I haven't put any optimizations on ABS, monitoring is not here. So these are all the things I have present given the tags. Okay, so these are the different tags I have given to my instance. Just I will launch an EC2 instance. Create. I will after this I will create a key pair. Key pairs are basically the private keys to the public keys through which we can access to our EC2 instance. I will create a new key pair so that I can tell you how to create it. I will give it name Linux key. Okay. After this, I will download the key pair. This will be downloaded to my local. Just I will do launch instance. This is the basic instance which I have launched. Now at this moment, it will take 1 to 2 minutes to launch this instance. At this present state, the instance is in pending state. Status checks just basically tells you how the system or the whatever the different operating systems are there, it is at moment present or not, or available state or not. Okay, these are basically the health checks your system health, that it is working good fine or not. It will take around 1 or 2 minutes to completely launch this instance. This is in the Mumbai region. We can have different regions or the available zones under the AWS console. In US is basically the region. In North Virginia is the availability zone. US East, Ohio. At present, we are under Mumbai, Asia Pacific. Okay, so the instance is launching. It is initializing. Here we got whatever the different instance details are there. We have provided at the launch time of the instance, key pair and public key. Okay, at this moment it is initializing. We go to the downloads directory to check it, so that we can check our key pair is generated. Okay, chmod. I will give the permissions to my key pair so that I can have the access of key pair Linux. Okay. Wait for 1 minute till the Linux is initialized. This machine is being initialized. I will just copy the public IP of my EC2 instance. What I will do, SSH -i, key pair name Linux. Okay, after the username Ubuntu @ IP of that particular server. State instance is still initializing. I will wait for another 30 to 40 seconds so that our EC2 instance is completely initialized. Oh, it is initialized. So what I will do, I will log into my instance. I will use clear command, clear the terminal. Okay, the first basic command is there. I want to access my instance with the root permissions. There are two types of users. One who have all the type of different accesses, and the first user, the Ubuntu user, through which I have logged into the instance. But for some operations to perform and whatever the different operations to perform, we take the help of root user. For that, one simple command is there, sudo -i. Now I am under the root user. I am using the server as a root user. So how can you check that you are root or not? With the help of who am I command. See, we can see there, I have logged in as a root user. So I'll start with the Linux basics. Actually, what is Linux? Linux is a very powerful operating system. It was written by a single man named Linus Torvalds in 1991. Okay, it comes under many varieties such as Red Hat distribution is there, Ubuntu distribution is there, CentOS comes under Red Hat, Fedora is there. Android is also a part of distribution under Linux. So these are the different distributions under which the Linux come. It is an open source. Okay. So many supercomputers works around Linux operating systems. I can say that more than 90% of the supercomputers are under the Linux operating system. So these are the basics of Linux, and I will start with the basic Linux commands. Okay, so for the first command, what I will do, I will tell you how to check at which directory are you there. So for that part, I will use pwd. Pwd is basically to check at what location you are there under the directory structure. At present, I can see that I am under the root directory, under the root. Okay. After that, one command is a ls to check the contents of a directory. Okay. I can see that under this one folder is there snap. Okay, so what I will tell you that first the pwd command to check at what directory structure you are there, and after that ls to check the contents of a file or the contents of a directory basically. Suppose you also want to check the hidden files which we can't do with the ls command. For that, one extension is there, ls-al, the hidden informations and the other informations of a particular file or the directory, we can do that. Okay, so these are the hidden files. These are the hidden files. Okay, and this is the snap, the file that is present or the directory that is present. The snap is basically the directory under the root. How can I say that this is directory or a file? With the D. This D denotes the directory. Okay, if D would not be there, I can say that this is a file. So ls-al, ls are the different extensions of a ls command. Through pwd, we check at what directory structure at present I am there, and after that ls to check the contents of a file. Okay, so after that, how to create a directory. Suppose you have n number of directories and you want to create another directory. For the ease of the process, use mkdir. Mkdir, I will create what I will create. Suppose I will create Linux 1. See, we can check that one, the directory with the name of Linux 1 is created. After that, I can also create one another directory with the Linux 2, name of Linux 2. You can see that with the help of ls commands to check what present inside our root directory. The two directories I created with the name of Linux 1 and Linux 2. Snap was already there. Okay, so suppose you have to go inside a directory or change the directory. For that purpose, we use cd command. Cd is one of the most important commands, because to change the directory, to roll back to previous directories, or to go back to the root directory, we use the Linux commands. Okay, cd Linux 1. Now we can check that we are under the Linux directory. Okay, suppose you have to go back to the previous directory or the root directory, you can use cd command. It will roll back you to the parent directory. Now cd Linux 1. Now you are under the Linux directory. Now I want to create a file. Files are being created inside a directory. Okay, for that purpose I will use touch command. Touch file 1. File 1. With the touch command, we create a one file with the name of file 1. Okay, you can check that file 1 has been created. Now we use Vim editor. This is basically the Linux editor to edit the files. I will go inside the file and I can write anything. Suppose I'm filling the 10 lines. Okay, now we will tell you how to do the actions or perform actions on the file. Suppose you want to check the last 10 contents of a file, whatever the 10 last 5 lines of a file. For that thing, we basically use tail command. Tail -n n5. Okay, after that the file name of particular file. we can see there I have printed the last 5 lines of a particular file. In the same way we can put it any number, suppose 6 we can put, or we can put 7 to check the contents of a file. Tail is basically one of the most important commands to check the contents of a file when the logs are printed and you don't want to see the thousands of logs, you just want to see the last 10 lines or last 100 lines of a particular file or the logs location. We can use the tail command. Okay, and suppose the microservices logs are there or the application logs are there and just you have to troubleshoot that. For that purpose we use tail command. In the same way head command is there, head hyphen n 20. Suppose I want to check first 5 contents of a file and I will after put the file name. Okay, these first 5 lines of a file 1 are printed. In the same way, just like tail fetches the last lines of a file, in the same way head fetches the initial lines of a file. Just you have to give the number. You can give any number, 5, 7 or anything you can give. Okay, so these are the basics of tail and head command. After that, you want to check the whole contents of a file, just want to print what inside the file is there. For that purpose cat command is there, cat file1. Now we can see that whole whatever the different contents are inside the file or whatever the different, wait for a minute, 1 minute. Sorry for the interruption, my battery was down, actually I put the charger over there. So with the help of cat command, oh sorry, cat command, I was talking about the cat command, we can see the contents of a file. So cat command is basically used to print the contents whatever the inside the file is there in the initial order. Suppose you want to print the contents of a file in reverse order, what we'll do? For that purpose we use tag command. Tag the name of a file. Okay, now we can see that the file is being printed in the reverse order. In cat command we say that it is printed in the initialized order 1 to 10, but in tag we can see that it is printed in the reverse order 10 to 1. So these are the basic troubleshooting commands to see the contents of a file. Even previously I told you how to check the last 5 lines or the first 5 lines with the help of head and tail command. Okay, I will go Linux. These are the 2 different files. Suppose I want to rename my file to some other name or some other thing. For that purpose I will use move command. Move the name, it will be given 2 parameters I pass. First the name of file and after that to which name I want to change. After that I will use file2. Okay. Now I can see that the name of file1 has been changed to file2. Okay, so the move command is basically to change the name of a file or the rename the file. Okay, and after that the different command is there, the copy command is there. Suppose you want to copy a file from one directory to another directory, for that purpose we use cp command. Okay, I will come to the root directory, suppose cp, and I have created 2 directories, linux 1. Okay, I will go to, sorry, I will check at what directory structure I am there. pwd they are there. Okay, I go inside the linux 1, the file2 is here, so I will do, I will copy the file 2 under the linux 2. I will do cd, come outside of it and go to Linux 2. I will check the file2 is there. Okay, so in this manner we will check how the basic copy command works Linux 2. Now after that, suppose you want to locate a particular file or any other directory, at what directory structure it is there. For that thing we use locate command. Okay, suppose you want to locate file 1. It is not present because we have changed the name to locate 2. Okay, for that locate thing is there. At present, though the files are not under the directory structure, since therefore the locate command is not working. No worries. After that, some point of time I will use locate command to tell you how to locate a particular file. And after that, suppose you want to check the storage or whatever the storage is used or storage is available with the of a particular server or a particular system. For that purpose, we use df command. Now through this we can check that at what file system, what disk is being used and what is available and at what part it is mounted on with the help of df command. If you want to be in human readable form, you will put extension -h. So I can check that in MBs, 488 MB and GB, 6.0 GB. These are the partitions on which the file is being mounted. And suppose in the same way you want to check the disk uses. For that purpose, you will du-h. Okay, so in that you can check that 4 KB, 8 KB, 12 KB. This much of disk has been used and this much is available with the help of df-h command. Okay, so these are the different variations to check the disk uses and whatever the disks are being available with the help of df and du-h command. Now what I will do, suppose I will go inside the directory and check that the file2 is there. First what I will do, I will remove the Linux. Okay, suppose you want to zip this file to make the size of the file less. I will use zip command. So I can see that the program zip is currently not installed in my server, and here it comes. You can install it by time apt install zip. Apt is what is apt? Apt is basically a package manager of Linux or the Ubuntu. I can say more precisely the Ubuntu. I will use apt command to install. Okay, yes. It will take 10 to 20 seconds to install the app. Now what I will do, I will zip the file2. I can see that the file2 is now being zipped. In the same way, we can use unzip to unzip the file. The file zip cannot find zip file directly in one or odd file. So there was nothing much in the contents of inside of the file, so that unzip not work. Suppose we have thousands of GBs of file and we want to zip that. For that purpose, what we do, we will use zip command, and for that unzipping that file, we use unzip command. So these were the basic commands. I have told you how to troubleshoot the files and whatever the different files locations are there. Through this thing we just use these different commands. In the next lecture I will tell you how to use the different network commands are there, how to troubleshoot the network things, and how to play with basically with the file permissions. So the file permissions and the network commands, how to check at which particular port your application is running and what the things are being going on. In the next session I will tell you. Thanks.